Right, Matt was talking about Alan Greenspan a moment ago, saying that financial crisis, saying it's a part of human nature. In keeping with that, our next guest says that bubbles are overall are really indeed a part of human nature. In addressing the financial bubble specifically, he says the Fed is not the body to be on guard for systemic risk. Joining us with more from our bureau in D.C. is Peter Wallison, a senior fellow at the American Enterprise Institute. That's a conservative think tank. Peter was general counsel of the U.S. Treasury Department in the 1980s and had a significant role in the development of the Reagan administration's proposals for the deregulation of the financial services industry. Peter, welcome to Bloomberg. You know, I read through your op-ed today. You know, what you're saying, we've heard from many other lawmakers in D.C. who don't want the Fed to have any more power. So there's a lot of momentum out there against the Fed having more control, if you will. Why do you feel the need, though, to write this op-ed now, considering all that momentum that's out there?
Well, I think the reasons that there is that momentum should be explained to the public, should be explained to people who are interested in this topic. There are good reasons for not giving this authority to the Fed, and some of them are outlined in my op-ed.
Peter, let me ask you, do you think the Fed has too much power already? I mean, a lot of people will argue that the whole situation that we're in the first place is due to Alan Greenspan's Fed.
No, I don't think the Fed has too much power. I just think it has inconsistent obligations. And if this particular authority was given to it, that is to look for systemic risk, it wouldn't find systemic risk if it is engaged in an activity that is not one that would locate it. For example, if the Fed is interested in keeping interest rates low in order to make sure the economy continues to grow, well, the possibility that a bubble might be developing in one area or another is not something the Fed is going to notice, or if it does notice it, it will suppress any significance of that idea and try to avoid talking about it. If we really want someone to, or some agency to look into systemic risk, what we ought to do is have some sort of independent body, not the Fed, and not one who is charged with managing other aspects of the economy.
You know, but Peter, you know the arguments out there. I'm going to play devil's advocate for a moment, looking at what transpired over the last year, how a breakdown in terms of the credit system and the financial crisis really impacted the broader economy. There are those who are out there say, why not have the Fed handle all issues that affect the economy as a whole?
Because if the Fed is attempting to, for example, make sure the economy grows, anything that is inconsistent with making the economy grow or helping the economy to grow will be something they won't want to look into very deeply. What we need are people who are willing to look into what the Fed is doing to make sure that while the Fed is doing it, it is not fostering something like systemic risk. The Fed was, in effect, our systemic risk regulator over the last 20 or 30 years. And, of course, they didn't notice that the bubble was developing and that the bubble in housing and that the bubble could eventually cause some sort of financial crisis. And one of the reasons they didn't notice that is that they were very interested in making sure that the economy continued to grow.
Hey, Peter, just 10 seconds here, but, you know, if the Obama administration is looking to create a sustainable economy, why leave the Fed in charge of something like this?
Why leave the economy in charge of systemic risk?
Why would you want to push for the Fed to be in charge of systemic risk?
I frankly don't know why. I think it's a mistake. I think they should not be putting the Fed in that position. A council of regulators would be a far better way to search for systemic risk.
All right, Peter, good to get some time with you. Peter Wallison, senior fellow at the American Enterprise Institute.